well, hope you're doing well. We had a very mixed day yesterday. We can see on our little table here, we had lots of greens and lots of reds, and it's just a bit of a wishy-washy day. I'm hoping that we don't get a similar day today. If we do, I'm probably going to be sitting out tomorrow and then trading after the Fed interest rate decision. I don't think I'm going to put any money into the casino if it's going to be mixed, and it's probably going to be setting up for like a huge rug pull tomorrow. So got to be really careful. And ideally what would happen is that the indices all rose together and the dollar would fall, and also individual companies would rise with the indices. VIX would fall, but obviously it's risen. Right, so we're quite mixed. There's 11 people short in the market versus the one person buying, so there's 11 people short in the indices. They're ever so slightly going long, ever so slightly over the 24 hours. QDB scores, the risk calculation is above 50, so we're green. Below 50 would be like sell, like bearish. QDB scores, these need sorting, so let's do that now. And we've got EG at the top, and we've got AC at the bottom, so that's of note. Our robot's got some Aussie trades running, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We could potentially be nearing reversals because of the extremes. Lots of pound down here, it's worth noting. You can see the UK flags, and a couple of Canadian flags up there, and Euro flags too. So that's of note, and that's the spreadsheet, so that's cool. We'll look at the indices and gold. So let me just click the thingy, and we'll bring that across, and we'll look at gold. Now I think what would happen is that this was a scary enough move, and it probably freaked them out enough to exit, and it had to go to 1900, and I think there was probably going to be a ton of stops there, and they'd really sold it, and they have held short since. They really sold it there, for example. Up we come, and so what's happening is that they're ever so slightly going long, and so we're probably going to see price fall to some support because they're going long. Okay, so that's gold. This was a scary enough move, stopped them out, and of course we saw that reversal. Very horrible. And the indices also quite horrible, to be honest with you. It looked like we were going to go up to the moon, and then they pulled the plug, and I think that was the CPI. Possibly, it makes sense. We had some high severity risk event, and down we came. And we've got a very busy week this week as well, like very busy. Friday we've got lots of PMIs out, so that should help the big fish understand where we are in risk on or risk off, because the PMIs are like a recessionary measure. So Friday is going to be important. So, but basically what happened is that they sold, and then they started to go long here, and that's the S&P sideways. So there's any comment on direction? Okay, it will be a buy, but probably be a buy at the supports. Okay, got to be careful because we're sideways. We'll do a US 30. Try and make these videos quite quick. And so they had sold it, so we are within this box. That rectangle's not that great, but we should be in this box there. I could have captured that wick a bit better, but you get the idea. And if we're sideways, we're probably just going to chop. But there's the sell there because they went long. And I was saying in Telegram, the risk to reward would have been like unbelievable, because you put your stop just below, above the swing high, and then you're watching price fall, and then you could put a trading stop in, and you would have been out a lot of that. Would have been a good move. So yeah, it's like a 10-hour trade, really, isn't it? It's like a 40-point stop loss, and it did 400 points. So it's a 10-hour trade using that setup. So you only need one 10-hour trade a week. Maybe even say a fortnight. 400 points for 10 points you're prepared to risk. That's a crazy risk reward. Very good. But we're currently sideways, so no comment on direction, but that box should hold. And DAX, wow, we're falling. But yeah, we need them to, they need to sell it in order for this to come up. So there's the sell here, which corresponds to that box. But yeah, like I say, it's going to have to fall in order for this to come down, I think, and this will be a trap. So it will come down to some support down here, and then it will basically ensnare them into selling, and then we'll get the buy. So we're going to have to be a bit patient with DAX. And that's it. I think we did S&P, we did gold, yeah, we did US 30, didn't we? So also don't forget, if you want us to look at any particular currency pair, we can. I won't mind at all. And then lastly is the robot. And like I say, we've got some Aussie trades running, so we're going to have to be a little bit careful. Obviously, if we go risk on today, it's going to really help these particular currencies and these signals. If we go risk off, then it won't be so good. So we are pretty much at the whims of the indices and the big fish risk appetite. Unfortunately, it's the bonds, then it's the indices, then it's the forex, and it goes in that order. The foreign exchange market doesn't determine if we're going to be risk on or risk off. It's the indices that are going to be determining FX, and the bonds determine which way we're going to go on indices, right? So trading FX was sort of like at the whims of higher powers. So if we go risk on, it'll be good. If we go risk off, probably not so good, but we'll just have to see. And don't forget, we are still demo testing anyway. So that's today's video. I'll wrap up now. And if we have a mixed day today, I'm going to be really careful tomorrow, and I recommend that you do the same as well. If we're going to just chop today, it's just accumulating positions, and you saw on the S&P what happened. We had a big rug pull and it fell quite heavily. So I'll speak to you guys soon. Trade safely, and let me know if you've got any questions.